Arne Slot isn't who you think he is.
Recent years, clips of Man City, of Pep Guardiola's teams, but I also showed them many times clips of Jurgen Klopp's team.
He's different, and that's what makes him so similar and at the same time very confusing. He's an infusion of not one, not two, but three different managers. Add this to his tactics, and what we're about to see in the 2025-26 season will be insane. Why? Because it's never been seen in the Premier League. The best of three worlds, a combination of energy, a system, and a tactical philosophy with a genius mind. Arne Slot is a one of one. So what makes him so special? He's taken the best bits out of world-class managers, and the first one is the idea he took from Pep and turned into his own.
Was his, and his plan now is his. You know, it's a different style of play. You can see it's more with the ball. You want to play more.
We saw it last season. This has to be the most common idea with Slot. The noticeable change: Liverpool went from the heavy gen pressing team they used to be under Jurgen Klopp to a slightly more refined one in Slot's first season. They still wanted to attack, but using Pep's philosophy, they attacked at the right time. The only thing is, there's a plot twist. See guys, it was never just about copying Pep alone for Slot. The idea was to take from the man and use it to beat him. Last season, they faced off twice in the league. Slot's Liverpool team didn't just win twice, they kept clean sheets home and away against Pep's City team, using different tactics. At Anfield, Liverpool were clinical. 19 shots to City's 7. It came down to two things: clever movement from Slot's wide forwards in Salah and Gakpo, and when City figured out the game plan in the second half, Liverpool sat deep to defend with a low block. It made sense because they'd already gone 2-0 up. At the Etihad, it was a lesson for Pep. Slot had taken his best ideas and used them against him. The 4-2-2-2, which we'll get to later on in the video, was a system Slot used to beat Pep away from home. No recognised striker, he used Dominic Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones as two advanced forwards, who helped Liverpool maintain the shape and the press. The low block also meant City struggled to create chances. In the bigger picture, this is where things start to get really interesting.
I wouldn't be surprised if he comes up with another brilliant idea. So I think he was the one who started playing the inverted winger, fullback. Then he was the one that started to play the centre back as a number 6. So I don't think it's a surprise for anyone if he again comes up with something no one has ever thought.
Arne Slot is a wise guy. To understand this, you've almost got to listen between the lines. He talks here about how other managers have copied Pep's ideas with the use of inverted fullbacks, the idea of playing centre-backs as holding midfielders or a number 6. We've seen other managers copy this. Slot didn't copy this with Liverpool. Why? Because he understood. He understood that the idea wasn't to copy the man, but to take some parts of his plan, to add it up and create his own. But Pep's just one part of Arne Slot's master plan. Remember, it's the best of three worlds. The other manager, it's what he inherited.
What Jurgen's teams liked to do and what my team liked to do as well is press really high. Sometimes maybe a bit different in formation, but the idea is the same, and we both like to score goals.
Again, Slot wasn't joking when he said this. The ideas between him and Jurgen Klopp weren't that different, which makes it confusing at first, but easy to understand when explained. Slot inherited Klopp's team. He won the league with Klopp's team, but he also won it by not changing much.
But I think in general for a club it's maybe better that only the manager leaves than 4 or 5 of your star players or your best players leave, because that's in the end the players win the games for you.
And that's because he didn't need to change much. In that clip, he talks about the quality of players and managers having minimal impact. That's exactly what happened. Anyone who watched Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool team in his final 3 years at the club would have known they were good, but they'd also have known that Klopp was trying to transition, trying to adapt. He just hadn't figured it out yet. It started with signings like this: players like Thiago Alcantara, players like Alexis McAllister and Dominic Szoboszlai. Jurgen Klopp was shifting from the system where he used a workhorse midfield and kept the creativity on the flanks to a team that could still attack the way he wanted to, but with control instead of chaos from midfield. It continued with signings like Darwin Núñez, a centre-forward different from the usual profile of strikers the club always seemed to sign under Klopp. It all pointed to the fact that Klopp knew the shift was coming. He had the right players, but the problem was finding the right balance, the right system. Arne Slot came in and understood straight away that this was never about changing things. No, all it needed was a tweak. That's what Slot did. He's so similar to Jurgen Klopp, and yet he's different. He used Klopp's players to build a winning strategy. Klopp laid the blueprint with the signings and Slot changed the system. From a 4-3-3, they went to a 4-2-3-1. The idea to shift Ryan Gravenberch, a player who was in and out of the team under Klopp, to become a key part of the team in that holding midfield role was genius. The double pivot role of him and Alexis McAllister, Dominic Szoboszlai or Curtis Jones in the advanced number 10 role, allowing Mohamed Salah fewer defensive duties to focus more on his attacking output. Using Cody Gakpo mainly as a left winger instead of the false 9 position, he often rotated under Klopp, playing Luis Diaz centrally to produce his best goal-scoring season at the club before leaving in the summer. All of this, small, tactical changes, it's Slot's genius move. He did it with Pep, took some parts and modelled them. He did it with Klopp, took the players and the game plan and modelled it. That's 2 out of the 3 managers he's based his ideas on. The third, it's a bit more traditional because this one goes back. Now this is perfectly understandable. A Dutch manager talking about Cruyff's principles, almost bound to happen. It was on constant repeat for Slot and his Liverpool team last season. One main lesson Slot took from Cruyff was his triangles. Breaking this down, when one player passes the ball to another, a third player is already running into space to make himself available, the third man principle. Or take the use of Ryan Gravenberch in the number 6 role.
Forward, then find them, and this is a special quality Ryan has that he can turn away from his match.
Slot talks about Gravenberch's best ability as being able to beat the press with a half-turn. The point is, Gravenberch doesn't just win the ball, he keeps it and retains possession. The passing flow is constant. He could have opted to play Wataru Endo, or even get a ball-winning defensive midfielder in the position. But his choice of players says a lot about how Slot took Cruyff's idea to make it his own. Slot took from Cruyff the possession-based principle, the use of Luis Diaz last season in the false 9 position as a more technical forward than a traditional number 9 like Darwin Núñez. Slot also took the idea of maintaining numerical superiority in midfield. It's why the duo of Gravenberch and Alexis McAllister has been so important to this system. It's why the work rate of Dominic Szoboszlai was heavily encouraged by Slot last season. It's also why he tried to change an area of Curtis Jones's game.
All day, and no matter what the circumstances are, he always wants to have the ball. We had a bit of a struggle maybe together that, in my opinion, he touched the ball a bit too much. And now he plays more simple, and that results to him being much more effective in what he does.
The idea is to pass the ball to create openings, but even with taking from Cruyff, Slot showed he's different. The fullbacks. Last season we saw Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson play in more cautious roles instead of the usual galloping like they would going forward. The reason was simple. Slot didn't want to expose the team to counterattacks in that position. It wasn't about limiting the creativity, they just channeled it across different areas of the pitch rather than focusing solely on the wings. Having said all of this, Arne Slot isn't a thief. He's just shown the hallmark of every great manager. The ability to take from a winning system and create a dynamic one. He's taken from Pep, he's taken from Klopp, he's taken from Cruyff. But in the 2025-26 season, we're about to see what the game hasn't seen before. Arne Slot's Liverpool team, the way he wants it. The clear-out at Liverpool has been massive. They've made approximately £200 million in departures alone, but at the same time, they've spent over £300 million on getting the players Arne Slot needs for his system to create his brand of football. The one that has similarities to all the managers we mentioned earlier, but at the same time is unique. Take Florian Wirtz for example. This area of the pitch is what he uses to exploit teams. Zone 14. He wants his most creative players in the position because it allows them the option to either thread the pass out wide or slip the central target through on goal. To play in the area, the player has to have a high level of technical ability. This system, overloading Zone 14 with creative technical players, it's unique to Slot. Not that other managers haven't tried to use it or tried to copy it, but it's what Slot is building a team on. Again, it's a fusion from one of the 3 managers we mentioned. Zone 14 can be likened to having a false 9, a central attacking target who, rather than waiting for the ball, uses clever movement and positioning to either create chances or open up the space for his teammates. But at the same time, Arne Slot isn't signing up to play with a false 9. He's got a number 9. In fact, he's got 2 who he could very well change his entire system and rewrite his plan. Hugo Ekitike and Alexander-Isak. All the buzz was around Isak signing for Liverpool on deadline day, but even before Isak, Ekitike looks like the perfect striker built for Slot's role. Think of him as a Robert Firmino regen that will score goals. His link-up play is neat. He drops deep to get involved in the play and at the same time has the awareness to get into position for goal-scoring chances. At the same time he creates. 12 assists last season playing as a centre-forward. And then there's Alexander-Isak, the second most goals in the Premier League last season, just behind Mohamed Salah, a big game player. He's already scored bangers against Liverpool. There's enough reason to believe Isak just might be the most complete centre-forward in the Premier League. He scores goals, he's technical, he can dribble, he's fast enough to beat defenders, he can run in behind, and at the same time hold the ball up, and he's an aerial threat. He's now part of an attack Arne Slot wants to build that will puzzle the league. See guys, a lot of people believe it's going to be either Isak or Ekitike for Liverpool, but Arne Slot could have a different plan up his sleeve.
I mean, they were one of the most attractive partnerships in the Bundesliga for a while. They had their own compound nickname, Hugo Mar, and there's real cohesion, understanding and instinct between them.
Ekitike and Isak, it just makes perfect sense. It's unique too. We talked about a possible 4-2-2-2 system earlier, and this is where it comes into play. Ekitike was at his best for Frankfurt playing alongside Omar Marmoush in that strike duo mentioned earlier. The most used formation in the Premier League last season was the 4-2-3-1, according to data from the Premier League. This system was used by 13 out of the 20 teams in the league as their primary shape, used 408 times in the Premier League. After that, the 3-4-2-1 was used 117 times in the league, and the 4-3-3 114 times. The point of mentioning this is that Arne Slot will understand that after winning the league last season, the rest of the competition will have found ways to figure it out. This is where he's reinventing himself. By using what could be the 4-2-2-2, it's a system that no one is prepared for. Isak and Ekitike as the two central strikers who at the same time have no issues playing out wide. It gets better too. The team using this system would be unpredictable. Because of how fluid the movement would be with players like Florian Wirtz and Dominik Szoboszlai, would still be able to operate in the half spaces or zone 14. Because as we mentioned, the two forwards have no problems coming out wide to receive the ball. Salah on the right means an added goal threat. Slot still retains Alexis McAllister and Ryan Gravenberch in the holding positions. With Jeremy Frimpong and Milos Kerkez, he's got much younger and agile versions of what Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson used to be. Because of how versatile he is, Frimpong can play right back, but in the games where Salah doesn't play, he can play right wing in the 4-2-2-2 setup. It's a combination of three systems he hasn't built into his own. Liverpool still wants to keep the ball and pass teams up to open spaces, the Cruyff and later Pep Guardiola philosophy, but at the same time want to attack and press high. It's pressing with a purpose, the Jurgen Klopp system. Slot's potential use of the 4-2-2-2, the same tactic he used to beat Pep's City team 2-0 at the Etihad, will be his finishing touch to building his ultimate system. It's insane. It's a genius move. It's not stealing, it's simply making each idea his own. Arne Slot is simply reinventing. But Mikel Arteta, he's based his Arsenal game off a popular manager in the game now. The only thing is that it isn't who you think it is. Click the next video to find out the dark truth about Mikel Arteta nobody is noticing.